some people are wondering what is going on with old DT, with old Donald Trump, insofar as his pronouncement that he thinks that he will be reinstated by August as president. This is the 1st of June. We need to remember two things. One is that reality makes no difference to a large part of the Republican Party right now. What is true and what is false is absolutely irrelevant. Please don't hang around and say, well, when are they going to, admit this obvious truth or that obvious truth? The answer is never. What is true and false makes absolutely no difference. The only question is, what serves me and what does not serve me? Any lie that serves Donald Trump is a good lie, and he'll continue to propound it. The second thing to remember is that Donald Trump is scared to death. Russia has no love for Donald Trump, and they hold all the goods on him. In my opinion, he has been laundering money through Deutsche Bank loans, using Russian mob-backed money for decades. And he knows that since there is no honor among thieves, they will turn on him in a heartbeat just as soon as it is in their best interest to do so. Secondly, the law is closing in on him here in the United States. Not just civil, but criminal charges are pressing in against him, and he is guilty on all counts. Every single count, and he knows it. This is the reason. Think of a man who is in debt to loan sharks. What will he constantly say? Oh, by this time I'll have what you need. Oh, by this time I'll have the money. Please just give me a little more time. I'll be able to pay you. That is what is going on with Donald Trump and Russia. He has to have them believe that he can become president again and serve them again. Otherwise, if he is useless to them, they have every opportunity just to turn over all the evidence against them, because they do not care about Donald Trump. Putin cares about himself. There is no honor among thieves. A dog that will fetch a bone will carry a bone. If they will turn on others, they will turn on you. And there is no principle in this. There is no morality regarding this, and that is why we hear these things. If Trump can convince himself and convince Russia that he can get back in office, if he can shoot, he probably believes it himself, or he wants to believe it himself, because the incompetent see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear. Therefore, they believe what they want to believe. So, if he can get back in office, all of a sudden, you can't prosecute him anymore. If he can get back in office, then he regains all of the legal representation to work at his behest in the Department of Justice once he gets an attorney general who will be his lickspittle. And he knows who his lickspittles are. They are people who will work for him. The reason Donald Trump wasn't able to do more damage, yes, it is because of the deeply patriotic state that was there working to hold the Constitution together while he was trying to set up an autocracy and a gang where he could run the government completely by himself. The things, when you say there is no honor among thieves, that also means that there are large portions of the Republican Party who will stop at nothing for power and money. You may remember when Donald Trump won the presidential election, that there was an opportunity there. I mean, the second that he said, Russia, if you're listening, I need your help to win that election. In effect, that's what he said. Any court in the country would have convicted him of that. But the thought was, we can't use the Department of Justice to go after the Republican candidate for president. That would look bad. That is exactly what we can't say that this presidential that this person who has been elected to the presidency with Russian help, with Russian influence. We can't go after him for that. We need a peaceful transfer of power. And yet that is exactly what large portions of the Republican leadership are doing right now. Trying to say, certainly we'll get Biden out of office and certainly we'll get Trump back in office. We could have done that. We could have done that in 2016. But instead we valued so much a peaceful transfer of power that we were willing to let the guilty get away with their crimes. Everyone in the Trump orbit believes that the law does not apply to them. And so far they have excellent reason for believing that. Crime after crime after crime they have thus far got away with. And that is the reason that Trump wants to believe himself, wants to convince Russia, and it'd be nice if some of his lunatic fringe believes it also, that he can get back in office. Because once he does, he's protected. Once he does, he has power and influence. Once he does, he has the ability far greater to raise money for himself and to control large portions, as he seems to do now, of the Republican Party. These Republican candidates who want the Trump mob on their side so that they can gain power and money. There is more and more we hear that, oh my goodness, 50% of the Republican Party believes this. 40% of the Republican Party believes this insanity or that insanity. At least we need to remember that the Republican Party is a minority party. Far more, there are independents in the country, and there are also more Democrats in the country. And the more insanity that Republicans represent, the more partisans that they're going to lose. The lunatic fringe will stick with them forever. That is why, that is exactly why, and the Republican Party leadership would have to be insane not to recognize this, that they are a minority party and they are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and a less and less representative of the country. That is the reason why they are so committed to destroying the post office, because the post office allows people to vote who or otherwise are unable to vote. It is much more convenient for people who cannot take a day off of work because they need the money to pay the electric bill. It is much more convenient for them to vote by mail. And so that, by a certain percentage, reduces the amount of people who would vote Democratic. It doesn't have to be 100%. It never has to be 50%. Just 5 to 7%, and you've gotten the job done. That is why the Republican Party is pushing so hard for voter suppression bills. Each facet of these bills, it doesn't totally force out people who are black from voting. It just reduces their convenience and ability to vote, by 4%, 5%. That's all it has to do. If a Democratic candidate is forced to have to win by 65% in order to win an election, you have locked in minority Republican rule for years and years and years. If you can work out gerrymandering, then once again, a Republican candidate has to get extra percentages of the vote in order to win, and you have locked in minority Republican rule. That is what is going on. These are tactical measures, and some of them will be strategic if they can hold on for longer and longer due to a continued minority rule, because the point is power and money. The three things for an immoral politician are power, money, and if he's still young enough to be able to maintain an erection, sex. Okay? So those are the three things: power, money, and sex. And those and for a lot of these Republican leadership, they're as old as Methuselah, and so sex is out. So we're dealing with power and money. That is what they care about. Everything else is just lies to give to the press. I've got to represent my constituency, and therefore, if they believe lies, I have to represent lies. No, that is not what representation is. You are representing the weal of your constituency, the benefit of your constituency, not their lies. No one is served by lies unless you are elected based on lies. You cannot convince anyone of anything if they feel that their job is contingent upon them continuing to believe a lie. You cannot convince them of anything if they feel that if they believe that thing, then they will lose their job. And that is what is going on